we got in the new Ford racing box. There's a lot of room in here. Talk to your doctor.
That high-speed rubbing will remove.
How dare you think that? This vlog is not going so well. This is, I have to look through this. It's not overhauling where you can just get it done like that. Hello and welcome to Gearhead 704. I'm Matt, and today I am back at a place. I know you guys won't believe it. I know you won't believe it. I'm back at Fox Mustang Restoration, that's right. But there's no Foxes out here today. There's no Foxes, just, we got the beater here. Matt and Jen's car over there. So, but why am I back out here? Well, if you caught the previous uploads, we were putting the engine back together that's gonna go in the Ssp, and the oil pan that we got was aftermarket, and it just didn't work very well. So, guess what I got, guys? I actually got a Ford Racing oil pan. Not aftermarket, this is from Ford Racing. It should work just fine. It should fit over that new oil pump that we got, the high volume oil pump, the Melling. It should work just fine. So we're gonna test fit that today. We're gonna try to get the engine back together today. But the price of it was actually a lot more than the aftermarket oil pan that didn't fit. The price was, I think, almost like 3 times as much, but in the end, it will be worth it. I'll have an oil pan that actually works and can fit the high volume oil pump and all that. So excited about that. But before we get into the meat of it today, I did want to just say, I hope everybody out there that's watching is staying safe and healthy. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now, and we don't really know exactly when things are going to get back to normal. But as long as I can, I'm going to try to keep bringing you guys entertaining content and content on the Fox Bodies on the channel. I'm going to do as much as I can for as long as I can. Ford takeover is obviously the goal for the Ssp, to drive it there, assuming that still happens. You know, as of right now, last I heard, it's still on. So that's what I'm striving towards. But yeah, again, I just really appreciate my audience and just hope you guys are all doing well. Anyway, let's go ahead and get inside, get this unboxed, see what it looks like, and start putting this 306 back together so we can get it in the car. Let's go. For those of you that aren't familiar, if you're new to the channel, with which car we're putting the engine in, this is a good hint. This is a good hint right here. No, Foxcast has done a bunch of videos lately where he started them out like this, so I figured, you know, most of you guys probably watch Foxcast. So I figured, yeah, I thought I would do the same thing as him. But there's a lot of room in here without an engine. Go figure. Who knew? Who knew? Okay, enough goofing off today. What we have here is, this is the old oil pan that came off, and the reason why I'm replacing it is right here. We got oil leaking out. It was rubbing, so obviously I need a new pan. So let's see what we got in the new Ford Racing box, Ford Racing Performance Parts. I actually couldn't believe that they had this. So I know it's an oil pan. Let's see what else we got here. Got I do need an oil dipstick, but this is, I need an oil dipstick and actually dipstick tube, which this is both, but this is for a 94-95 car. So that's not gonna work for me. Still gotta get one of those. Let's see, here we got the oil pan. Make sure it matches up here. Let's see. The only thing I see that's different on this oil pan, it looks like, here's my oil sensor, low oil sensor. This doesn't have one. See what else we got in here. Oh, gave me a new gasket, which I had a reusable one. So I was gonna go with that, but I can go with this one instead. That's cool. What else we got? Ooh, a new dipstick tube. Okay, this is actually good. The other tube that was on the car, it looked like that was the only thing that really had carbon buildup on it. Obviously that tube had been reused, and I didn't realize you got a new tube with this one, so I'm gonna put the new tube on. I went ahead and mounted that last week, but no big deal to take off. I know the gasket's already put on there, so the gaskets are gonna be a little torn up when they come off, so I gotta buy new gaskets. But yeah, so I got that. That's cool. What else we got in here? Don't think I need one of those. I think I've already got the bolt for that. And that's pretty much it. Okay. So now we got the oil pan. The engine is right over here. So let me go ahead and set the engine up, turn it over, and we'll jump into assembling that. Get the oil pan on there, make sure everything fits. Okay, we actually have a little dilemma here. So I thought the oil pan matched up pretty good, but we test fit it and it did not clear the Melling high volume oil pump, unfortunately. So compared it, obviously this was the first aftermarket pan that we got, Tried this, didn't work. If you guys saw that, that was in a test we did last time with some putty. So got the Ford Racing one, thought it would clear. But remember guys, when I was unboxing this, this is the 94-95 dipstick. And what we're thinking is the pump's also for the 94-95. Don't know for sure, but it would make sense because again, this pump is not clearing it. High volume oil pump is nice to have. But at this point, what I'm thinking about doing, since it's not fitting, not clearing the pump, is just get me a new stock pump. It'll work. I don't really want to try to find a used pan. That's going to be a pain in the butt to find, you know, original pan. And as you guys know, I'm in a time crunch. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and get a regular stock oil pump. I believe that will fit. This is just kind of what you deal with, guys, when you start modifying stuff away from stock. You know, obviously the car was already very modified, so that's why I'm going that route. But yeah, this is fun. Like I said, I'm learning, and we'll see. I'll catch you guys up here in a minute, but I believe that's what we're gonna do. So while I'm waiting on that oil pump, new stock oil pump, and some gaskets and stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and I forgot, guys, I forgot to clean up. You gotta keep cleaning. I did not finish the cleaning job. So timing chain cover, I got a new timing chain cover, but we still need to put a gasket on here. I've already been working on this side some. I'm actually using a pretty good tool here, although this can warp aluminum or tear up aluminum. I believe it warps it. So that's why I'm going ahead and I'm cleaning the gasket surface, but this is steel, so I'm not using this on the heads, obviously the aluminum heads, but you can use this on steel. This side over here, still a lot of leftover gasket material. So I need to clean all that up. So that's what I'm doing right now. Once I get that cleaned up, I think I can go ahead and move on to putting the timing cover on. I got the timing cover gasket and all that. So I'm gonna do that first while I'm waiting on the new oil pump to come in. So let me go ahead and jump on that. All right, got my timing cover gasket surface really cleaned. Like I said, I used this tool to scrape it off. This is not really gonna warp it, so yeah, it's pretty clean. I still have to pick up the gasket. Actually, I don't have the gasket here. I thought I did. But Matt, I was telling them, this is Matt, by the way, in case you guys don't know, co-owner here. So I was telling them I use this to clean off and not a cookie because the cookie can warp it, is what you were telling me.
Right, it actually doesn't warp it, but a lot of what most shops do. And unfortunately, it is most shops. And it was the way I was originally trained until, you know, my mentor, which was a master mechanic and a machinist, taught me the right way to do it. Most shops will take a die grinder. This is a cutting wheel, but most guys are going to be familiar with this. And you get like, you get an adapter, and it's going to be what we call like a cookie. And you get them at the auto parts store. If you've worked in engines before, I'm sure you know what it is. It's a little like a semi-soft rubbing or sanding disc that you can put onto an adapter.
I've seen something like that before.
Right,
okay.
And it does it at high speed. The problem with that, even though they're still fairly soft, even on steel, that high-speed rubbing will remove some of the metal material. It will actually...
Even on steel?
Even on steel. For example, like right here, we take my scraping tool, you go like that, I should be getting 100% contact. I've got a perfectly straight edge here.
Right.
I should be getting 100% contact. Well, as you see, as I'm cleaning it off, I'm not. I'm cleaning off the silver spots. Where the silver spots are, that's where I'm cleaning off. So those are basically means that that's a high spot in the metal. Where you see this dark area here and the dark area here, those are low spots. That's from somebody taking a polishing cookie and hitting it with the high-speed tool, and as they're doing it, they're rolling it. So what's happened is that they've actually removed some of the metal from here and here. Why is that a big deal? Well, when these are initially made, these surfaces are perfectly flat surfaces, so you get 100% gasket seal. And you're supposed to you're never supposed to use the RTV or the silicone
all
on
the
the
way,
whole
right?
gasket. Yeah, there's parts where you always use it, but that's never meant to be used all over. So with the people using the cookies like that, you create the low spots, so then to make it seal, a lot of guys have to use RTV. The reason it's leaking is because the repair wasn't done properly or the cleaning work wasn't done properly. So those high-speed polishing cookies, they do remove the material, even on steel, a lot more in aluminum. So think about it, the timing cover is made of aluminum, so if they use the same thing on the aluminum, you're removing a lot more of the metal.
Yeah.
So you no longer have those flat, perfect surfaces to get 100% gasket seal on it. So to do it properly, that's where this comes in. It's a carbide scraper tool. I literally just picked this up at Ace. It was like 15 bucks. The nice thing about it is you've got this hardened steel carbide scraper. It's actually the same metal and the same bits they use to put on lathes to cut metal, to cut steel, to cut rotors and stuff like that. So this perfectly flat edge right here. Well, another thing that's nice about this tool, it's got 3 edges, so you actually get 3 in 1. So when this one wears out, you loosen it, you turn it a third, and then you got a new edge.
I was wondering what the other sides were for.
Yeah, that's why it's a triangle like that. But for good steel surface, this is the best thing to get a nice clean surface.
It's pretty cheap though, man. 15 bucks. Like.
Yeah, and it's the best tool out there for cleaning steel surfaces.
So what are we gonna do in this case, because we're not perfectly flat?
It's gonna be good enough in these areas. However, what I'm gonna do once we get the water pump and the timing cover, because this has been cleaned in properly before.
It's not smooth flat.
It's not gonna be 100% machined flat surface. Where we're gonna deal with pressure. So when the cooling system heats up, you're going to have pressure in the system. So any weak or loose, any weak surfaces or weak gaskets or low surfaces, that's where you're going to have a leak. So I really don't like doing it because it's not the way it's meant to do, but because this surface isn't perfectly flat anymore, this would be one of the only areas we're going to use some RTV silicone on. What we'll do is, we don't have the water pump today, that'll be in Monday, so on the next go, that's when we'll do the timing cover, because when you put real quickly, put the RTV on, put the paper gasket on, put the timing cover on, then we bolt the timing cover on, and then we're immediately gonna go to the water pump bolts, bolt the water pump on, and that's when these 4 holes will have the bolts and actually compress the gasket in the silicone to make sure it's a good seal. If this surface was perfectly flat and didn't have all this rolling cleaning on it, then you wouldn't need a silicone. It'd be perfectly flat surface, use the paper gasket, boom, done, it's sealed.
That's why I gotta use RTV.
That's why we have to use RTV at these areas, just to make sure that we're not gonna have a problem.
Okay, so that's the explanation on the timing chain cover. It makes a lot more sense to me now while we need to wait for that water pump. I am gonna go ahead and take off this pickup tube again and the oil pump again and get the new one on. Man, I cannot believe the weather, guys. It's so nice now. I'm actually getting kind of hot. I should have wore shorts today. But anyway, I did undo what Tiffany did. I've got the old pickup tube out and you can see the difference. I mean, look at all the carbon buildup on this guy. Yeah, look at all the carbon on this tube. It's absolutely been reused before. And here we got our brand new tube. So I'm happy about using that. But just as a quick aside on this, guys, you see I'm redoing some work. This just happens sometimes. It's part of the process. And that's how I try to do my channel. I try to do it more what you really go through, what it's really like. And sometimes, you just have these problems and you have to work through them. So that's what I'm doing today. I expected to make a lot more progress, but the oil pan didn't fit. Now we got to get a new oil pump. Would be fine with the timing chain cover, and now we realize, no, we need the water pump already. So it's just a matter of having the right parts and doing it the right way. If you do it the right way the first time, you don't have to redo it again. And that's what I'm definitely trying to do with this engine here. And I hope you guys can see that. I want the work to reflect that. I want to have pride in my work, pride in this car. And I'm really excited to be doing this. As you guys know, if you've been watching for a while, this is the first time I've ever embarked on something of this magnitude, and I'm willing to take on the challenge. I'm happy about it. So anyway, enough ranting on that. I need to go ahead and get the new pickup tube back on. Got to get the oil pump. So I got to go pick those parts up. Oh, I forgot. We do have one thing. We got some new thermactor plugs for the heads. That's the way you're supposed to do them. A lot of times bolts will be in there, but we actually have plugs. They're called thermactor plugs. So I'm gonna go ahead and explain that here in a second. All right, so this vlog is not going so well. I got ready to do the thermactor plugs in the head and we don't have red Loctite here. So I'm actually going to the parts store right now to get a crap load of parts, have all the parts, and then hopefully we can really make some progress on this, guys. Again, sorry about all this. It's just kind of how it goes sometimes. You think you have everything and you really don't. So let me jet over there real quick and then we'll get back on the engine assembly. This time for real, I promise, this time for real. Okay, back from the parts store, got more parts, and unfortunately, this is the new oil pump. We're gonna use stock pump. Did not come with new gaskets. So I don't wanna reuse these gaskets because we just took them off. Matt, you were just pointing out to me that could be a problem.
Yeah.
Could be a leak, potentially.
A lot of people definitely think that you can reuse gaskets after you use them as long as they're not torn or whatnot. Yeah. That's actually incorrect. It's like a puffy section of the paper. Well, that's just where it's not being compressed.
Right.
The amount of that collapse or compression is what actually creates your seal. So once a gasket has been used and flattened, even though there's no rips, it is very possible for this gasket to leak.
And that's the case. You telling me we actually lose oil pressure?
Right. So we're
don't ruin it right here.
Right. So on an oil pump, yeah, you got two different places you have gaskets. You got the pickup where if you get a leak there, the pump won't be sucking oil. It will actually start sucking air and you lose your prime. You got zero oil pressure. Whereas if you lose the gasket there, then you actually get lower oil pressure because it's on the pressure side, but you're losing pressure because it's leaking
I'm thinking either one's going to lead to metal on metal potentially.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
We're failing again today, guys. It's a theme today of this video, but that's just how it is sometimes working on these cars.
Yeah, sometimes just dealing with parts. Like we get a new pump, but no gasket.
No gas. So we do actually have something that we can do though, and I kept talking about the thermactor plugs, and we're gonna finally take a look at that.
Real quick, I'm sure everybody who's been on the backside of a motor has thrown this pipe away. There's a crossover pipe for your emissions that will go from head to head. Okay, and it's a fresh air injection pipe. You do a performance application, you remove that pipe, then you end up with holes. Well, if you leave those holes open, then you got a massive exhaust leak. So what most people do, they'll throw a bolt in there. The problem with bolts is they usually don't seal very well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the correct parts in there. So it's a thermactor plug, port plug. And these are actually used from the factory. Heads are interchangeable left to right. So the same holes that are on the front of the heads is on the back of the heads. Why don't you deal with this in the front of the head? Well, if you look on the inside of that threaded plug, that's also a threaded hole inside there. Yeah. So Ford used these in the front of the head to plug these holes, but then they also made it to where you can run a bolt into there. And on the driver's side head, this bolt hole actually takes the long threaded shaft for the power steering pump. Okay. And on the other side, it actually uses, I believe, one of the alternator brackets. So these are factory units, but I think the cleanest and nicest way to plug the thermactor holes in the back is just to simply use the factory style plug. So to put that in...
Wait, use the same thing Ford used? How dare you think that?
I mean, doing it right. Wow, yeah. I don't know. So I use just a dab of Loctite.
Yeah, using the red Loctite here,
yeah,
guys.
Just a little bit, especially on an aluminum head. You just want to use a little bit, but you also don't want these to come out. So, and what I did is I took a bell housing bolt. You want a bolt that'll thread inside of this plug, but you don't want the head of the bolt to bottom to the plug. Because if you get a short enough bolt to where the bolt actually tightens against the plug, you'll never be able to get the bolt out of the plug
without taking the plug out.
Once it's in the head, right? Because otherwise you'll just back the plug out. And there you go. That's all you need to do
bolts
to
coming
install
out.
those.
Pretty easy.
Yep. Now, if I had used the bolt short enough to where the head came all the way down, when I'd done that, I would have pulled the bolt, the insert. It
started unthreading the insert. Okay.
But there you go.
So I'm trying to figure out what else I can do today, because obviously I got the thermactor plugs in, but that was about it. Gonna bolt the valve covers on, and of course, when I pulled the valve covers off of a used parts car, it didn't have all the bolts. So I said, Matt, you got bolts? He's like, yeah, I got bolts.
I found a thermactor plug.
Oh, we don't need one of those now. I just bought one of those. Look, guys, look at this. This is, I have to look through this. The best part is I'm looking through these and Matt's like, oh yeah, this is a, what was the last one you saw?
Oh, this is an
K-member bolt?
Yeah, this is an upper plenum bolt.
Yep.
This is a water pump bolt. I think that's a K-member bolt. That's a belt tensioner stud. What else we got here? That's a differential pin bolt.
It's not a valve cover bolt, which is what I need.
Right, it's not. No.
So this is what we're doing here, guys. Yeah.
Power steering.
All right. I'm not gonna make you guys watch all this, but this is how it's done. This is real. All right, and just like that, guys, we are all done. Valve covers are on, intake's on. Hope you caught that. Not really. It looks pretty though. Look at that. That's what it's gonna look like. Obviously, I mocked this up, but I think the valve covers, the intake, it's gonna look pretty good. Yeah, this is what it could look like, but it didn't happen today, obviously. Okay, yeah, I just thought it would be fun to mock that up real quick, because honestly, guys, did not get really much done today at all. You saw all the problems we kept running into. The valve covers actually aren't even on. I did not find all the bolts. I need to get bolts. Today was kind of on me a little bit, not completely. We had some parts that just didn't work together, like the oil pan, which you saw, but also I needed to get some other parts. So yeah, reason I'm making this vlog is I just want to show you guys this is how it is in real life. You know, it's not overhauling where you can just get it done like that, unfortunately. And so this is real. That's what we do here on Gearhead 704. If you've hung in here this long, I really appreciate it. The next video, I should actually have all the parts I need and everything working together. You know, we've got the oil pump that's going to work with the oil pan now. We're going to have the valve cover bolts. We're going to get the water pump, and we should be able to stick that all together. So next episode is going to be jam-packed, so definitely stick around for that. Again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I hope everybody is doing well, they're safe and healthy. And yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. It's kind of crazy out there, but at least you know for now, I'm going to bring you as much content as I can. So thanks for sticking in there with me today. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Again, that helps me out a lot. If you find this for the first time somehow and you haven't subscribed, that would also help me, so please do that. And we will see you next time on Gearhead 704. I want to show you what I'm having for lunch today. We've got a can of Coke and a Hershey bar. If you've been watching the channel for a while, I've actually been gaining a lot of weight. Since I've started the channel, I've gained at least 30 pounds. I've been trying to cut down. I actually recently lost about 10 pounds. I got 10 pounds of it off. I know it probably doesn't show in the last video, but this has just been the last couple weeks. I'm trying to lose some weight here on Gearhead 704. Cut some calories. It's kind of funny, right? Losing weight, just drinking a Coke and eating a Hershey bar. This is still like 350 calories, so not very nutritious, but hey, it's the Gearhead 704 weight loss plan. Talk to your doctor.